crypto has gone bananas. Bitcoin's up 119, ETH's up 63, and Solana's up 500%. So pretty good. And exactly in line what I've been imagining, which is macro spring. Macro spring and crypto spring are the same thing because macro is crypto. I've explained all the way through. These are not different things. And there's a bunch of old macro people who are like, oh, I don't like that bloody crypto stuff. It's nothing to do with macro. It's driven by exactly the same cycles. It's completely in line.
Real Vision CEO Raoul Pal offers his updated predictions for the crypto landscape, shedding light on why the forthcoming cycle will stand out and outlining expectations for a potentially explosive bull market in the last quarter of 2023. Against the backdrop of crypto and technology emerging as the year's premier investments, Pal maintains his bullish stance on digital assets. Having significantly increased his position during the last bear market, the former Goldman Sachs executive provides a portfolio update, identifying crypto assets with substantial upside in the coming months. Pal anticipates a notable influx of capital this year, with major pension funds and institutional investors aligning for the upcoming cycle, propelling crypto toward a projected $10 trillion digital asset class. Pal foresees this cycle as distinctive, fueled by devalued fiat currencies, propelling increased adoption and an unprecedented influx of capital into the crypto market. As traditional currencies lose value, Pal predicts a significant shift towards crypto, setting the stage for an unparalleled surge in capital inflow compared to previous cycles.
I've tried really, really hard to make sure that everybody's set up for this cycle. I've tried to communicate it. I've gone out a lot to say, don't fuck this up. Buy and hold, don't use leverage. Use cold storage, do the right thing, don't get too speculative, don't FOMO. This is the biggest opportunity we've ever been given. I've said that all the way from 2020 onwards, and in fact, I said it all the way back in 2012. It's the biggest macro trade of all time. And if you're not a crypto person, technology is one of the biggest opportunities we've ever been given, the exponential age. Again, don't f this up. So, spring. What is spring like? Spring is one day it's raining, next day it's sunny, then there's frost, then it's getting warmer, then you think it's going to be amazing. You get your t-shirts out and then it's freezing cold again. That's what spring is like. That's exactly what macro spring is like and crypto spring. So we saw spring and we saw choppiness, sideways ranges, a squirt up in the beginning, then slowed down. And then we're now getting into late spring. Late spring, we're starting to see what I refer to as the banana zone, which is this massively positive end of year phase. Normally speaking, again, probabilistically speaking, no guarantees around here, so don't try and hold me and go, well, it didn't go up at the end of the year. I'm bored of that stuff. Probabilistically speaking, it goes up into the end of the year, and usually fast. And nobody catches it, and everybody's chasing it because they're all trying to chase performance for the end of the year and prove to their investors that they had the right trades on, which obviously they didn't because all the institutions have been massively underweight. So that, I think, is what's taking place, and that's usually the end of crypto spring and macro spring. Then we start transitioning to summer. Summer is when rates start coming down, box looking like it's starting to be ticked. When inflation falls, that's happening. And as you know, my views on inflation are it is not sticky, it's mean reverting, and it will go back down to 2% or lower. I think it actually goes negative in this cycle, and I think core inflation will go negative this cycle too. And that's what we're going to look for in 2024, and that will take people by surprise. And I think the Fed purposely orchestrated it. They want it. They want to see rates lower so they can refinance the debt. So, interest rates falling, inflation falling, unemployment rising, and then when you look at the forward-looking indicators, growth will be picking up from the floor. That is the perfect macro environment. Then we're coming into election year, as all of these macro springs have been since the Great Reset of 2008. They're all the same timing. Macro summer is the same as the election year, is the same as the halving year in Bitcoin. It's all the same bloody thing. So that is about to play out. So 2024, I think, is going to be a pretty wild ride. Normally these years tend to have periods of sideways consolidation or corrections, and then these huge spurts. And we tend to see a couple of those during the year. So nothing's going to be a straight line, but it should be an extremely good year. And then 2025 will be even better. That's usually the bat crazy year, which is the transition from macro summer into macro fall, where everything kind of goes exponential before you start transitioning to winter, rates start going up again, markets pull back again, and we go through the same cycle. And that's been happening consistently since 2008.
Raoul Pal radiates unyielding enthusiasm for the crypto realm, firmly anticipating a forthcoming surge marked by explosive growth. The active involvement of major players like BlackRock and various crypto giants lends weight to Pal's confidence in the industry's vibrancy. He reassures stakeholders that a prolonged awaited upswing is on the brink, creating an atmosphere of anticipation within the crypto community. As the crypto landscape evolves, the stage is set for a transformative moment, with the highly anticipated 2024 halving event for Bitcoin. This event, known for its historical impact on Bitcoin's supply dynamics, adds an extra layer of significance to the anticipated surge. The community is keenly observing how this pivotal event will shape the market's trajectory, serving as a catalyst for renewed interest and investment in the cryptocurrency space. Pal's bold predictions and optimism align with a broader sentiment that sees the crypto industry not just as a trend but as a dynamic force on the verge of a significant breakthrough. With major institutions actively participating in a crucial event on the horizon, the crypto market appears poised for a period of substantial growth and transformation.
Simply hold until new highs. Right, I'm going to tell you a story. I keep telling this story. Look, it's horses for courses, as the English expression goes. I first bought Bitcoin in 2013 at $200. My thesis was this is a 10-year bet, and I think it's worth $1 million, but I'm going to discount myself by 90% for the moron factor. So therefore it's worth $100,000, and it's at $200. And I said, this is the best macro bet we will ever be given, and the best macro bet we have ever been given. That was 2013. I was pretty impressed if I look back, because it was exactly the case. So I rode it up, and it went up to 5x from where I bought it. Then it collapsed 85%. I'm like, fine, it's an option for me. It's a 10-year bet. It then ran up 10x into 2017. 4 years later, I'm up 10x. And I got a bit nervous in the space because of forking wars and other stuff. And I stupidly forgot the initial premise of the trade, which was this 10-year bet, you just run it. Because when the P&L stacks up, you start thinking, well, really, do I want to give this back? But you've got to learn how to do that if you're running long duration time horizons. So I sold out at 2,000, 2,500, and it went up to 20,000 in that run. And people were laughing at me, and I was like, look, I've made 10x. Thank you very much. I've done this really, really well. And then I watched it, and then eventually got the entry point to get back in again, which was April 2020, and it fell back down. I think I got in 6,500 and bought it, from 6,500 to about 12,000. I kept buying it, and it rocketed higher, and much bigger position than when I first started. Okay, great. And I still own it today. It's pulled back up again. Okay. So I went back and looked, if I just kept my original investment and not touched it, even with the market down from its high 50%, I'd have made 5 times as much money. And my bet in 2020 was a lot bigger than it was back in 2013. And then here's the real crux. And me and backwards baseball cap Brian were talking about this before we came on, is like, if you just remember that log channel and that the big cyclical up and downs, which is the economic cyclicality, if you just buy within 30% of the low, which is not that difficult, 30%, you don't even have to be bottom ticking it. I just calculated, I got 30% near the low. If you'd have just added my original bet, which wasn't that big, it would have been 25 times as much performance. And that was the lesson learned. That's why I didn't sell a single thing, and I kept buying. My duration really for this is, I will probably take some off the table in this trade, but my real bet is to run most of it until 2030. That's always been the game, and it remains the game for me. Obviously, peel off some lifestyle gains, do whatever you need to do, appease the wife. But I think 2030 is the horizon. But you do you, I do me, I have a stomach for risk. I've been doing this for a long time. I actually enjoy the risk of crypto. I enjoy the throwing when it goes down 70%. I'm buying like crazy, and everybody else is like, it's terrible. It's the worst investment ever. And then you go back 3 years later, and it's like 10x where they were all selling it. It's a ridiculous business, but it's a lot of fun as long as you understand the game that you're in. If your game is you need those profits, for goodness sake, take the bloody profits.
As an investor, Raoul Pal has orchestrated a diverse array of moves, positioning crypto at the forefront of his portfolio, while technology holds the secondary spot, proving to be the second fastest growing asset and delivering substantial returns. This strategic approach, where crypto takes precedence during bull cycles fueled by adoption and speculation, has proven successful. Pal emphasizes the outperformance of cryptocurrencies compared to liquidity measures during these cycles, underlining his findings to advocate strongly for strategic investments in cryptocurrencies. Within this strategic framework, Pal particularly highlights Bitcoin and Ethereum as promising assets poised to outshine traditional financial institutions' balance sheets. He views these digital assets not only as lucrative investments but also as a safeguard against currency debasement and the inherent flaws within the current financial system. As Pal lays out his investment strategy, inviting contemplation on the potential breakout for Bitcoin by the end of 2023, the stage is set for a dynamic shift in the market. Share your thoughts on Raoul Pal's strategy for the upcoming months in the comments below. For more daily dose crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.